Hello everyone, welcome to Stellenbosch University's Department of Animal Sciences, and today I'm going to tell you about the wonderful career of becoming an animal scientist and why this particular discipline is a wonderful, exciting career choice for you. As an animal scientist, you are going to play an extremely important role in food security in our country, but not only in South Africa. Our qualification will allow you to pursue career options overseas as well, because our degree is recognized overseas. So what are we going to discuss today? We are going to talk about what does animal science as a discipline involve. We're going to look at our department, who are the people who is going to lecture you in classes. We're going to look at the structure of our academic program, and then just to show you that we believe balance in your academic career is very important, I'm going to give you a bit of a snapshot of that. And then the question first and foremost that's always on your mind is, where can I go and work? So we are going to look at the potential career opportunities that lie in waiting for you once you have finished your studies successfully in our department. So what is animal science? I think the most important thing is that animal science is the scientific study where we look at of feeding our animals. So we look at feeding ruminant and non-ruminating animals in terms of their nutritional requirements. We particularly also focus on which genes we need to select for to make sure that we breed in the correct genetics to allow our animals to cope with production conditions, which can range from intensive systems or to extensive systems. And then and probably one of the most important disciplines, we look at what makes the animal tick on the inside. And that would be, we look at animal physiology. And for those of you that did not know, an animal has 11 organ systems. And it is important that those 11 organ systems know how to work together quite effectively to ensure a happy environment on the inside so that the animal can produce the product that we farm him or her for. And a product can be wool, it can be meat, it can be eggs, it can be milk. Okay, so any of those, and we need to understand what goes on the inside of the animal before we even start formulating diets or before we start identifying genetics or genes that dictate how a particular trait of that animal is expressed under certain production conditions. Our department is one of the oldest established animal science departments in South Africa, and the nice thing about this is that we have had ample time to know what we need to teach you to become an animal scientist that can contribute to our country's food security. And everything we do in our department is driven by the three pillars of animal breeding, animal physiology, and animal nutrition. So when we look at our departmental structure, we normally look at our departmental structure according to the main disciplines. And then it's on the one side we can produce an animal product, but with certain products like meat, we can actually add some value as well. We refer to that as product development or product value adding. And this is in addition to the three pillars. You will see that we have a meat science pillar as well. In each of the groups, you can see a minimum of at least, apart from the animal physiology group, we have a minimum of 2 academics in each group. In the animal physiology group, despite the fact that it is only me that's represented there, we have our own in-house veterinarian, which is quite an added bonus. And the in-house veterinarians support me in teaching and research activities, which we execute both on undergrad and postgrad level. When we look at the vision of our department, it is important that as a department we recognize the job that we have. Our job is to understand what the research requirements and needs are of our industries, to conduct research to generate information that can be taken back to industry and used in an extension context. And then also some of the research we conducted, we use in our training of youth and animal scientists as well, because at the end of the day, when you enter industry, you need to understand the developmental needs of that industry as well, to make sure that South Africa stays at the forefront of contributing to food production in South Africa. And particularly with animal scientists, we work normally very closely with veterinarians, because both of us are responsible for looking after the welfare and well-being of the livestock species, and sometimes even wildlife species that we work with in our projects. This is just a quick overview of what our undergrad program involves. As you can see, a typical 4-year program. And the first year, you normally will sit in class with the natural science faculty students. And when you look at the subjects offered in the first year, some of them will be very familiar. And this sort of also makes the transition from school to university a little bit easier, because some of the concepts you covered in grade 12 will be touched on and picked up in your first year. It is important to understand that when you look at our undergrad program, our program is designed in a particular way that the 1 year build on the preceding year, and therefore it is very crucial in terms of academic success that you understand how the modules or the subjects are interlinked, and that you need to pass all the modules in 1 year to carry on with the modules in the next year. So we introduced a module, Animal Science 144, just to give you a snapshot of what our industry or our discipline entails in the first year, that you're not entirely lost in the natural science faculty. But from the second year onwards, you start getting exposed to our animal science modules. And when you are in your third and final year, you spend almost all your time in our department. So you will have quite intensive interaction with us in the undergrad classes. Sometimes our students love the academics so much that they want to carry on with a postgrad degree. And then we have several of these postgrad options on the table. We offer an MSc Agric in animal science. And here you can do a project involving any of the main disciplines. You can do a combination of, for instance, animal nutrition and animal physiology. We also offer an MSc in sustainable agriculture. Now, this particular MSc is a taught MSc. You will have 1 year of modules that you are registered for. And then as in your second year of the master's, you will do like a mini thesis project, but which is just a mini version of the full-blown research-orientated MSc Agric. We also offer a postgrad diploma in aquaculture, which is open to any student that hold a BSc, and then a PhD if you really love the academics and you really want to become the expert in your field. You will enroll for a doctoral degree, and when you achieve a doctoral degree, you can, for instance, start your own business and be a true entrepreneur. When we look at our research activities in the department, this is just one example of our research facilities. We recently upgraded our sheep research unit, and as you can see, it looks very neat and very tidy. Unfortunately, there's no animals in the pens at the moment. But in addition to the sheep research unit, we also have a dairy section, we have a poultry section, etc., where we carry out our research. It is important for us that our research units conform to industry standards, because our job is to train you to allow you to transfer your experience that you gain in our system in industry in the right way, propagating livestock production methods that's correct, adhering to all the standards of the relevant industries. What also makes our research unique, we're one of the few universities that offer animal science as an undergrad degree. We have 2 experimental farms where we have different animal units which we use for training and research purposes. The one research farm at Welgevallen is located next to Kutsenberg, and Mariendal is located next to Elsenburg, which is a completely different system, but we carry out our animal research on these 2 units. Linked to our department, we also have an animal unit where we can carry out nutrition trials, which normally last about 2 weeks. And then we also have a molecular genetics lab in ours where we can carry out the kind of genetic research that allow us to start focusing on the genes that are desired to improve animal production. What also allows us to carry out quite innovative research is that we also have access to the central analytical facility, which houses on its own different units, but they house those expensive equipment, and they have people with particular expertise which we don't have, but together we team up and we can really do some cross-cutting innovative research that keeps South Africa at the forefront of food production. Now, one of the big things of our undergrad program is it is important for us that you do understand that we teach you the theory, but it is also important for you to understand how that theory gets applied on the production side. And we have a sheep stud, which is housed on the Mariendal experimental farm, the Terravina stud. And this stud is a proof that for our students of how, when you select for particular traits, how you can actually improve the genetic profile of your animal population. And in this case, it has a monetary implication. We have an annual auction where breeding rams are sold from this particular flock, and the genetics that's produced from this flock is quite in demand by industry, and it is an annual event on the calendar of one of our big auction companies in South Africa, and farmers come from afar to acquire our genetics. It is important for us also that because of the variety of job positions that may be available to you once you graduate, it is important for us that you also get hands-on training in the undergrad program, and we actually start doing that from your first year, where you will be introduced to animal handling, etc., etc. Now, the reason why we do this is that it is important for you to understand the implications on animal welfare and well-being if you do not know how to read an animal's behavior, or you don't know how to handle an animal properly. You add additional stress, and stress inevitably will impact on the production, which will inevitably impact on food production. So for us it is quite important, and in our program we cover mammalian species, we cover avian species, and we cover aquatic species. And in some cases, some of our researchers also do some research on wildlife species. So it is important for you to get exposure to the practical application of some of the theoretical things we teach you in class. And for instance, if you look here on the screen, there is some students doing their artificial insemination registration exam. There's one person busy collecting sperm from a fish. There's one of our students holding onto an abalone, and the rest you can see there is some of our students at our animal units either busy with animal handling or just doing animal behavioral observations. Now, one of the highlights of our program is actually the final year or fourth year tour. Now, on this tour, you go and visit particular industry institutions or producers. And this is a highlight for our students in their 4-year program. This is a year where you do a bit of quite of bonding with the academics that go along. But the purpose of this particular tour is to show you how does animal science fit in industry. How do you actually take all the theory that you've mastered up into that point in your program, how do you take that and turn that into money for the livestock producer that will ensure the sustainability and viability of that particular production enterprise? Now, we do believe that balance is important. Our program is quite a tough program, and we are normally quite tough on our students as well, because we know what demands industry will present you with once you enter industry. But we also do realize that in addition to your academic career, you also need to have a personal life. And for us, that's really quite important that you as a student realize that quite early on, and that you do make space or time for yourself to try and balance the two activities. And what you see here is just some of the social occasions, particularly on the final year tour, where students really can interact with the academics, and that you see the other side of the academic that accompany you on the tour. So the big question is, where can I go and work? Now, the nice thing about our degree is that with each kind of degree, that would be your typical 4-year degree, your master's degree, and your PhD degree, you enter industry on very specific levels. Our degree is structured as such that we really tailor-made it to address what industry needs. And industry in itself also know what we invest in our undergrad students. And the consequence of that is that when you do graduate, you have an opportunity to enter industry on a technical level, where, for instance, you can go and work on at a feed mill. And here you will typically be the person entering industry, and you will liaise with the farmer on ground level, and you will make sure that he or she will consult with you to ensure that the production efficiency and or reproduction efficiency of their animal population is optimized, because this can then ensure that production system can remain viable and also produce that particular product sustainably. Now, when you pursue a master's degree, the reality is that you learn a certain skill set on master's level, and industry know what this particular skill set is. And when you do obtain a master's degree in animal science, the industry will appoint you on a higher level than just a pure technical level. And with a MSc Agric degree, you can also potentially venture into the management level of that particular company. Now, when it comes down to work experience, when you look at job advertisements, you will typically see that they require some experience. Now, a master's degree normally is recognized as representing 3 years of working experience, even though the master's degree is only 2 years. Then with a PhD, you generate brand new knowledge, knowledge that's never been written up or published anywhere. And therefore you become an expert even more than your supervisor on your particular topic. And because of that, you can actually start your own business as an entrepreneur, consulting to that particular industry, or you can join much larger companies and become a division manager, for instance, of a particular division in that big company. So when you look at the logos on the screen, this is not to promote any company or any particular discipline. This is just to give you an indication that when you do join industry, you can join a company that, for instance, concentrate only on providing animal products. Some companies on the screen, like DSM, for instance, also produce products for the human market. So when you do enter industry, it is good to know of all the different options that there are for you, and that there are also different channels where these companies will then advertise the different job opportunities. If you have any questions regarding our degree, on the screen is the contact details of Dr. Brink van Zyl, our departmental chairperson, or our departmental secretary, Mrs. Adele Smith-Carstens. You are more than welcome to phone them, contact them, reach out to them to inquire about our program, and if you want to visit our department or our experimental farms to see if this is really the program for you. So yeah, this is in a nutshell the program that we offer at Stellenbosch University, and really I can talk forever about the wonderful program we offer, and should you be interested, please reach out to us, come and talk to us, because the degree of BSc Agric in Animal Science really allows you to become one of the role players in our country's food security, and will allow you to make a meaningful contribution in ensuring food security for all throughout our country. So yeah, reach out to us, and hopefully we see you soon. Goodbye.